Oh yeah, Mike. I got my email. My NBC Universal travel confirmation email. My flight is booked for Las Vegas. You and I will be in Las Vegas in 2 weeks for the first 2 days of the 2022 NFL Draft. 2 being the magic number. There are 8 teams with multiple first-round picks in this draft. I am super excited, to say the least, about this draft. I don't care that it's not a great quarterback class. You know what I mean? Like, we put too much emphasis on that anyway. I know you need a superstar quarterback in this league, but I'm sorry. There's way more to the draft, and nobody knows that.
Dan Campbell says you don't.
Connor Rogers. Exactly. Well, yeah, he has to say that. Our good buddy Connor Rogers, our draft expert from Bleacher Report. Listen, let's start with the quarterbacks, though. Let's go ahead and go there, because quite a few visits for quarterbacks were announced ahead of the draft. Carolina's got visits set with Malik Willis and Kenny Pickett and Matt Corral and Desmond Ridder and Sam Howell. Pittsburgh is talking to Corral and Carson Strong. Seattle's talking to Ridder all this week. You know, look, everybody gets, a certain number of visits. You don't want to, jump to too many conclusions, but I guess which visits and which fits jump out to you the most when it comes to these quarterback-needy teams and these top quarterback prospects, Connor?
I think everything surrounding Carolina at 6 between Malik Willis and Kenny Pickett. I don't put Desmond Ridder in that conversation yet. I do think he's going in the first round, which it's just a crazy year, where in a normal year, a Desmond Ridder is the kind of player that probably goes, more top 60-ish. Same even for a Matt Corral, obviously Sam Howell, players like that. So I think when you look at it, this quarterback draft starts at number 6 for Carolina. And I'm starting to believe that they are going to take one. And it would not shock me if it's Kenny Pickett. I think, guys, when you look at this situation in Carolina, they are one more bad year away from Matt Rule potentially being fired. So if they're sitting there right now looking at it and going, we're going to go into the year with Sam Darnold, or are we going to try something different? I think they're going to choose the option that is something different. And I think it would be Kenny Pickett, because they think he can come in and distribute the ball to the plethora of playmakers they have available. Although Malik Willis, I wouldn't rule him out just because of how exciting his long-term is. The wild card is Seattle at 9. I know they're bringing in Desmond Ridder for a visit. That would really, really surprise me. But once again, now you have the Saints, you have the Steelers, you have more teams than we expected involved in a quarterback market where there's really only 3 guys that can go in the first round, and even at that, it's a bit of a reach.
Well, and that brings me to my next question, because there's been so much talk about this being a down year, especially relative to last year, a down year for quarterbacks. Until what I haven't heard, and maybe I'm just obviously not as close to it as you are, what I haven't heard enough about is like sleeper quarterbacks or value quarterbacks or quarterbacks who, could make a push into the end of the first round, traditionally where teams will trade back in to get a guy before the second round starts. Or even guys that, like, if you don't get an early quarterback, you get one late and could really feel good about his long-term prospects. So beyond the top guys in a, relatively speaking, weaker quarterback class by most projections, the Willises, the Picketts, the Ridders, or what have you, who are some off the radar guys that people around the league are buzzing about, that you're like, you know what, man, that dude could be somebody in the right situation given time to develop?
I think the one that interests people is Sam Howell. Now, everybody knows Sam Howell because he was in the first round of mock drafts last summer. The first mock drafts that come out, he was a guy that when you do look at UNC, they lost a lot of talent, and he was still there. They lost Diami Brown, the wide receiver that went to Washington in the 3rd round. They lost 2 stellar running backs in Javonte Williams and Michael Carter. They lost legitimate pieces in that offense. And when you watch it this year, the pass pro wasn't good. The talent around him did suffer a significant drop-off. And because of that, his play spiraled, where he played a lot of hero ball guys and tried to run around, extend plays. He's athletic enough to do it, but it cost them at times. I didn't really see him throw in structure enough, and that's my biggest question with him going to the next level. He's got a big arm. It's just, can you dial it in and be accurate consistently from the pocket? And that's why Sam Howell he's not going to go in the first round. But there will be a team in the second round that takes him and says, we love his attitude. We do love the athleticism. We think he's got a big arm. We think he needs seasoning and some time to learn how to play a little bit more in control. The same can be said for Matt Corral coming out of that Ole Miss offense that is a very gimmicky college offense. He's a lighter guy, an athletic guy, not the best decision maker right now. He's throwing the ball around the yard. There's no throw on the field that he doesn't want, and he's going to have to learn to dial that in because NFL defenders will take advantage of that. But to your point that, we're looking at a quarterback class and we're just trying to find somebody outside of round one that's interesting. There's just not a lot there. Bailey Zappi from Western Kentucky, he'll be drafted. Not a big arm, kind of projects as a long-term backup. Caleb Ellaby from Western Michigan, an underclassman that did surprisingly declare. Good touch thrower, can throw the ball down the field, but once again, just not those polarizing traits that Willis or even Ritter have, or last year we were spoiled with Trevor Lawrence, Justin Fields, Zach Wilson, and Trey Lance, who were just dripping with jaw-dropping traits to become something special eventually.
Now, I know this could be, two separate answers. The quarterback who's going to go first, I don't want to know that. Because that may not be the best guy. That just may be, as you mentioned, Matt Rule may be desperate to take somebody. But who's your favorite quarterback in this draft? The quarterback that you think, hey, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, we're going to say, that's the guy. Really good quarterback. Who is that guy?
If I had to put my stamp on someone, if I'm in the draft room and I'm saying I'm betting my job in this franchise on it, I'm trying to hit a home run, right? This is the guys that go to the playoffs to go to the Super Bowl. You look at the Joe Burrows of the world. You look at these superstar quarterbacks. It's Malik Willis, just because everything is there for him to be a star. But you really need to let this one marinate for a little bit. Malik Willis is coming out of Liberty, and people need to get this, not mix this up. He was at Auburn, right? He wasn't a no-name recruit or anything like that. He's always been a really talented guy. He transferred to Liberty, broke out into a star. He's not really a runner. He's a good runner because he's a patient runner, excellent vision, but he's a quarterback first. He is somebody that can really throw the ball vertically down the field, and it's very, very impressive. He's a smart guy. Everybody I've talked to in the NFL that's gotten to sit down with him and really pick his brain has been impressed to the point of anybody could sit there and impress one-on-one in the room, but impress on the stage of, okay, you can be the guy in press conferences after a big win or a really bad loss that is speaking for the team and speaking to things. You're a guy that can be in the offensive room and we can really build an offense around you. But once again, the speed of the game going from Liberty to the NFL, I guess it's a little similar to Trey Lance last year where we knew graduating from the FCS to the NFL level is going to take a little time. We saw how slow the Niners played it with Trey Lance last year. I don't know if Malik Willis is going to be afforded that luxury depending where he goes. If he went to Pittsburgh, he'll sit behind Mitch Trubisky for a little bit. If he goes to Carolina, he might be playing right away. But when you're betting on traits, the big arm, the physicality, and the mobility, Malik Willis is the only one in this class that you can check all of those boxes off when you look at the quarterbacks.
When you talk about all these traits and rare ability, it reminds me of a guy, different position, that I really can't figure out how people feel about him, and that's Kyle Hamilton. I've seen some mock drafts where they have him going second. I've seen some where he slides out of the top 10. How do you see Kyle Hamilton, and where do you think he's going to go?
I think the best case scenario for Kyle Hamilton is going number 8 overall to the Atlanta Falcons because they just need good football players right now where they'll go, we don't care that he's a safety, we just need talent, and he's loaded with talent. He's a no-brainer top 8 player in this class. And then it starts to become a question, right? We know Seattle's not going to take him. I don't think the Jets are going to take him at 10. Washington at 11 is absolutely a possibility, and then you wonder how far will he really trickle into the teens. He would go at 13 to Houston if they didn't move from that pick, so that's probably the floor, right? That's how far he could really fall down the board. Now, Kyle Hamilton's so interesting, right? Because a lot of people like to use the definition or the label unicorn, and I think he's a unicorn because people use that because of his length. He's 6'4". He's built like a linebacker, but moves on the tape, not on the track, on tape, like a safety. Now, with Kyle Hamilton, I think he's also gotten wrongly labeled for some things. He's not going to come down in the slot and play excellent man coverage. That's not what he does on tape. He's a thumper. He's a good tackler. He can run sideline to sideline. He could play two high in coverage. He could play single high. He has enough range, sideline to sideline, to do that. In zone, he has excellent eyes. He was a great leader for that program. When Brian Kelly walked away and left those kids completely on the spot, he was one of the guys that was out there speaking for the program and sounded like a fully grown adult, a 10-year veteran in the NFL. So you can fully buy into the person. You could buy into the role he can handle for your defense. But we know this league, guys. It's pass rushers, it's quarterbacks, it's wide receivers, and early in the draft, usually offensive tackles. It's really hard out here for superstar safeties.
Speaking of buying into and pass rushers, I had begun to just buy into the inevitability that Aiden Hutchinson was going to go first overall to Jacksonville. I'm not speaking of sure things. It's like, who are the sure things among those three premier blue chip edge rushers? Aiden Hutchinson from Michigan, Kayvon Thibodeau from Oregon, and Trayvon Walker from Georgia. Who's the surest thing, or which one is kind of moving into play for number one? I mean, process elimination seems like Kayvon Thibodeau is not in the mix, but Trayvon Walker is getting more and more buzz about potentially going number one. Maybe that's Trent Baalke's fingerprints on that, or I'm not sure. But how do you see this competition among these three primary pass rushers playing out?
I do think it's between Hutchinson and Walker, and I think Hutchinson is the favorite to go number one. Now, there is a lot of smoke out there that Trayvon Walker's making a run for this thing with the athleticism, the measurables, another guy with a championship pedigree, so the character is there as well. And people feel like with an expanded role as a pass rusher that he's going to blossom into a superstar. Now, I'm a little lukewarm on that one, guys. I think it's a tough sell. I've seen a lot of people, maybe speaking for Baalke or speaking for whoever, say that it reminds them of Aldon Smith. Aldon Smith was drafted after a year where he had less than 5 sacks and blossomed into a star. I think a lot of people conveniently leave out that Aldon Smith had 11.5 sacks as a redshirt freshman at Missouri. So the productive season was there. It just wasn't his last year. Trayvon Walker has never had that double-digit sack season. He's never had that great season on paper in terms of just overall production. Now, I think Aiden Hutchinson will be the number one overall pick. I don't think it's a lock. I think he has the highest floor because of how polished his pass rush plan is right now. But you don't draft for the floor all the time with number one overall. I would still take the ceiling with Kayvon Thibodeau. It's not going to happen. He's not going to go number one overall. I think he goes number 2 to the Lions or number 4 to the New York Jets. But I would look for the superstar. And I think with Thibodeau, there's enough there right now that you've seen the ability to tap into, to coach him up, expand the way he wins on the defensive line, and really develop him into a superstar. And there are 3 productive years of tape for Kayvon Thibodeau. You cannot say that about Aiden Hutchinson or Trayvon Walker right now. So I find that, interesting that we don't have that argument a lot. A lot of people fear the one-year breakout, and I have no problem with that. Hutchinson had a tremendous year. Trayvon Walker, in his own way, more against the run than against the pass, had a really, really good year. But when you look at Kayvon Thibodeau, at least in the 2 full seasons, 2019 before the pandemic season, and then this year in 2021, he was tremendous and got better over that time at Oregon.
Hey, listen, Connor, you got to understand, I love the Ohio State Buckeyes. I love the Buckeyes, always have, grew up there. I'm a Buckeye through and through. But you have permission to tell me, because I'm looking for some negatives here, you have permission to tell me that these Ohio State wide receivers are getting a little too much love, where I see Garrett Wilson being drafted in the top 10, and some people have Olave in the top 15. Is this too much? I mean, I know they're good, but have we gone too far with the wide receiver evaluation? Go ahead and tell me. I want permission to rip them.
Well, here it is. It's a balance, right? Garrett Wilson's my number 1 wide receiver. Chris Olave is barely hanging on in that top 5. So, okay. And I think Olave is a good player, but he's limited. I'll start with the bad then, since it sounds like that's what you want right here. I think with Olave, it's the play strength that concerns me. He's a lighter guy. He's a smooth route runner. He's got good ball tracking. He's got multiple years of excellent tape. He's played special teams. He can win outside. He can win inside. I do think when guys get their hands on him at the line of scrimmage, he's going to struggle in his releases a little bit. And he's always going to be that number 2 option. He's never going to take over football games. When I look at Garrett Wilson, I see the polish in the route running. I see the ability to win before the catch. Tremendous at the catch point, guys. A different level of strength compared to Olave, where it's the tracking, it's the strong hands, it's the vertical leap, it's the body control in the air, where I don't care that he's 6 feet tall. He plays like a 6'4" wide receiver. I think before the catch, he reminds me of Calvin Ridley. He tested way better than Calvin Ridley, and he's got juice after the catch. I got to see him in person this year. It's incredible what he can do with the ball in his hands, the ability to make guys miss. So I would be comfortable building an offense around Garrett Wilson. I can't say that about Chris Olave, and I think there's just guys ahead of him that are so much more physically impressive, whether it's Drake London, Jamison Williams' speed, Treylon Burks' physicality. Olave will be a good player in this league for a long time, but he's a complementary player in this league that is paying wide receivers $25 million a year, and that's why you're seeing a lot of teams, I think we'll have at least 5, maybe 6 wide receivers go in the first round. They want cost-controlled wide receivers for at least 3 to 4 years before those big contracts come up like we're seeing with DK Metcalf, A.J. Brown, and most notably Deebo Samuel right now.
You earn your money every day, Colonel Rogers. This is your time of year. Thanks for bringing your A game, the brother from another man. It's always fun to talk to you. We could do it all day. We won't monopolize your time like that. Hopefully we talk to you next week, and definitely the week after that when we take this show on the road to Las Vegas. Appreciate you, man. Keep up the great work.
Hey, thanks for watching Brother from Another on YouTube. Make sure you hit subscribe before you leave, and be sure to watch us 3 to 5 p.m. Eastern Time on Peacock. Appreciate you.